There are very few of these people, close to none. They have always existed and will always exist. They live on different continents, worship different gods, but all of them possess a strength which has no explanation. Their words are considered prophetic. Their deeds sometimes contradict the laws of physics. Our project is about them, these mysterious ones chosen from above, the X-Minds. When God was granting land to nations, he wanted to leave it for himself. But then he decided to give it to the Abkhazians. Such favor and God's choice of the Abkhazian nation can be explained by the fact that during ancient times, they were famous not only for their hospitality, but also for their morality. Having seen this, God granted Abkhazians with the best land full of miracles. God is always with us, although we can't see him. This is what Abkhazian holy people claim. They are the keepers of ancient beliefs for this small nation, which populates a country that can be driven across both ways in one day. A resort's train station. July is the very peak of the busy season, so there's a lot going on. Tourists all pass Adler on their way to Abkhazia. Mikhail Pavlov, a photographer from Rostov-on-Don, arrived here on a morning train. Here one can decide whether to travel further by commuter rail, by bus, or by car. In any case, it won't be too expensive. In terms of prices, this republic is far more attractive for tourists than neighboring Sochi, which is fancy and rich. Once, Abkhazian Sukhumi and Gagra were as popular as the current Olympic resort. They were forward-thinking in their initial purpose, resort treatment. All components for recreation are here: a unique climate, a beautiful sea, subtropical nature, clean mountain air, healing springs, and muds. The season lasts from May till October. Recreation under the bright Abkhazian sun is recommended to everyone, except to those fighting cancer. Many people think that the whole seaside consists only of resorts, even though they suffered greatly during the military conflicts in the early 90s. However, it's a facade behind which the travelers never see Abkhazians' real life. Even roughing it and renting a bed in a tiny room for $1 can't compare with real local life. Beyond the resort complexes, the Abkhazian style of living hasn't changed for centuries.
We lead a plain life just as our great-grandfathers did. God willing, our descendants will also live like this. We are all surrounded by mountains. There are enough gorges and rivers for everyone, and forests are everywhere. 500 or even 1,000 years ago, a family took this land by the stream in the meadow, cleared it for sowing, built a house, and tilled the land. Children grew up and built a house nearby. So our villages are made up of relatives. There are not many of us Abkhazians, so there is enough space. Hardworking people will always get everything they need from the mountains and the soil. And of course, we have to pray to God.
Hamida Kramzia has been living in Abkhazia all her life. At first, she was living further south, and then she married Varlam and settled down in Kramzia's ancestral village, 40 kilometers from Gura Uta. More than 30 years ago, young Hamida couldn't even imagine that she would become an honest wife for a handsome and hardworking man. She helped him not only with farming, but also in his wondrous and mysterious work, and became the wife of an ex-mind.
When we got married, Varlam's father was full of energy. He cured people, and people from surrounding villages and from Georgia visited him. Varlam helped him, and I did too, a little bit. My mother-in-law died young, but another daughter-in-law helped out around the house, and I helped Varlam. He was the only son who showed such a gift. So his father made him his successor. Everyone was able to see that Varlam could talk with spirits and understand plants.
Hamida doesn't want to remember that the family was against her. It turned out that the young woman was seriously ill and couldn't have children. Moreover, in the Caucasus region, childbearing is a woman's main purpose, often to the disadvantage of her own health. And everyone worries about not having descendants. But Varlam didn't follow the advice of those who suggested that he should leave his wife. He loved his Hamida very much.
At first, I was taken to a hospital and was operated on 6 times. But this led to adhesions. At that time, there was no such medicine for gynecological diseases as we have now. Varlam said that he would cure me himself. He looked for herbs himself. I don't know how he understood what he needed. But he prepared brews for me. I was so thin. He carried me outside in his arms and helped me to sit down. Everyone said, "Why are you making such a fuss? She'll die anyway." I sat and thought it would be better to die fast. I cried, and Varlam argued with everyone and fed me spoonfuls of herbal tea, and he cured me.
Today, the healer of the Kramzia people has become famous far beyond Abkhazia. People call him Nape La. In Abkhazian, this means the one who bewitches mountains. Mihayu from Rostov is heading to him now. He came to know about him from acquaintances. In preparation for the visit, Varlam went to the mountains at dawn to look for a unique plant which grants the gift of life and good health to those suffering from a malady deemed by Western medicine to be incurable.
I began gathering herbs with my father at the age of 12. At that time, he showed me the root which Misha needs. Father had noticed a sign in me when I was a boy. I don't know what sign it was. Probably I don't have a successor now. When I have one, I will realize. Perhaps I'll also see a sign.
So Varlam gathers wondrous plants alone. This is the only place in the world where they can be found. Even similar herbs, bushes, and trees growing 100 kilometers away from here don't have the magical power given by this particular corner of nature.
My father showed this plant to me and the place where it grew. He also came here at dawn to gather it. This plant should be gathered before the sun passes over your head so that it won't see it and deprive it of its power. It has such power that even wild animals don't attack those who come here to gather it because it is used for good deeds. Never dig up this root if there isn't a specific person in need of it.
Since the dawn of time, Abkhazians have believed that the surrounding world is inhabited by spirits. They had their own sun and moon cults. Spirits lived everywhere, in sacred groves, in certain trees, in water, on mountains, on the earth, and they always protected these places. Abkhazians have always considered them to be part of the environment and communicate with them every day. For example, Dazizlan is the protector of rivers.
She has particularly clean places where she filters the rivers through 7 stones. So no one has to wash one's hands and drink water there. This water washes away all diseases.
Although Varlam is in a hurry, he honors the river, shaking hands with it before stepping into the water. By the way, this beautiful traditional clothing, an undertunic with a traditional waistband and Turkish pants, is worn to show respect for nature. It's akin to our wish to get dressed up before paying a visit. Having been delayed due to the talk, the healer is afraid to miss the time when he may dig up the precious root. Moreover, one has to pick a clean plant, untouched by animals or insects. And it isn't easy to dig up. When Nape La digs his mattock into the soil, he starts a delicate interaction with the Queen of the Earth.
Now we have to clean it. It's the root we need. Look here. It has 5 bulbs and many little rootlets. These Caucasians shouldn't be broken, otherwise they'll lose their power. So this root shouldn't be dug with a spade, but with a special mattock and with one's hands.
But this is only part of the work. Now it is necessary to go through a special ceremony devoted to the Queen of the Earth. According to the Abkhazians, every place has its own power and protector. This protector grants life to everything that grows on this land and fills this root with mystical power which can fight diseases and death. We have to thank her for this gift by presenting her with something she lacks: clean salt.
May the power of the Queen of the Earth benefit from my salt. May its fertility never be exhausted, and may its power help my patient.
Now Varlam has to leave without looking back. This is a relic of Proto-Indo-European myths, which has survived in cultures that are very ancient, as well as in our fairy tales. Any contact with the world of spirits is dangerous for human beings. And when supernatural forces give someone what they ask for, he or she is not allowed to look back. A mystical interaction between the forces of life and death is occurring behind one's back, so a human can be punished for curiosity. Now we can go home at ease and prepare the medicine for Mihayu. Varlam will change his clothes after returning home. But now we have to go on another small trip to get some special water. It could even be called holy water and will be used for brewing the root of life. While the healer heads to the ancient spring for the special water, his most reliable assistant will clean the sacred plant.
Of course, my husband does the most important work. I'm like an assistant worker. But I do some work better than he does. It's difficult to wash the root due to its thin appendices. They can't be damaged, but the root has to be cleaned of soil completely. It's obvious that a woman's fingers are more accustomed to such delicate work.
The root of life is washed in different waters. In Lotic river water, in well water, and in healing water. It seems that the belief about dead and living water has been adopted by our fairy tales from Abkhazia, as water plays a central role here. It's a land of the cleanest rivers, with glacial waters and streams filtered through karst rock. The famous lake Ritsa is located nearby. However, there are some unknown springs and hidden places here that are visited only by locals.
Of course, everything has changed here. For example, the spring has been spruced up. A spring with healing water has always been here, so it was developed in such a way to make it more convenient for people. When my father collected water here for his infusions, there was just a trickle of water from the rock.
However, Varlam's power is manifested not only in using healing plants and water with a complex composition of mineral and biologically active substances. Perhaps their impact can be explained in a contemporary, scientific way, but the results of the healer's treatment are determined by his individuality and his incredible ancestral gift possessed, passed down to him through centuries of generations.
One can't simply dig up the root and prepare the medicine. That won't work. Outsiders have tried it already but failed. Our kin is tied to this root, so only our men can use it for healing. This medicine can be prepared in our house only.
The healer is uncomfortable because he rarely speaks about himself. Indeed, people come to him with their own problems. Nobody thinks about what the ex-mind himself experiences, following his higher purpose to help the weak. He does this for free. Ultimate unselfishness is a must for a local healer.
You have to be pure in what you do, and you have to do it with an open soul. If you give something to others, you should do it freely and easily.
Having returned home, Varlam begins preparing the medicine. He doesn't keep the recipe secret, as nobody can make the infusion have powers except men from Abkhazian family.
The root looks like cancer itself, a tumor which spreads its rootlets in many directions and grows, so it will defeat Misha's tumor and pull it out.
An important moment in the healer's work is when he activates the mysterious mechanism of interaction between root and disease with the energy of his hands and hardly audible words, as if imbuing the plant with his power and setting the algorithm. So the medicine appears as a result of his mystical connection with the earth, the root which is growing underground, and the kin living on it. To rescue people is a gift and a duty placed on the Abkhazia kin by higher forces.
Hello, my dear Valira. Hi, how was your trip? It's a good thing that you called me. Everything's okay. I traveled to Adlir. Come in. Thanks. How was your trip? Good. 1 second.
It's more convenient for Russian acquaintances to call Varlam Valera. The healer likes this because he considers it simpler to become close to people from other lands and culture by using a more familiar name. A lot depends on trust and on the contact between patient and doctor.
Do you have your doctor's charts? Yes, the latest one. May I have a look? Here's this year's chart and last year's. May I have a look? 1 second. Wait, it's on the top. 1 second. Hamida! Who took away my glasses? I can't leave anything lying around for a second.
Perhaps Varlam's positive mood when talking to his patients is also part of the treatment. It's usually called strong wattage. Varlam generously shares it with the people around him, charging them with his confidence in a favorable outcome. Having found the glasses, he studies Mihaiu's discharge summary. Since last year, the tumor hasn't grown at all. It has even decreased in size.
Here are the numbers, 2.6, and here we have 2.2, so there is some improvement. I prepared the medicine. I'll bring it to you now. Okay.
The ability to evaluate a patient's condition is very important for a healer. Varlam is satisfied with Mihaiu's appearance, but compares his opinion to objective evidence. Conventional medicine proves that positive effects occurred after Mihaiu took the infusion. In other words, Varlam wasn't mistaken in choosing this treatment method, and preparing the root for future use was not in vain.
So he will drink the infusion for a month. The strength and composition differs from bottle to bottle. So first he has to drink from this bottle, then from this one, and then from this one. I prepared this. Do you remember how to take it? The same way. 100 grams thrice a day before meals. I see. And don't put it in the fridge on the first day. You can put it in the fridge on the second day. Is it the same root? Well, it's stronger medicine. Why is it different? I prepared a weak infusion the first time. I see. So that you could get used to it, and then I made a stronger one. I see. When there are 2 fingers of infusion left, I see. Don't drink it. Okay. Use it for gargling. I see. Okay. Now that you know everything, let's sit down to eat.
This is traditional Abkhazian hospitality. No guest should leave the house without dinner. This never ceases to amaze visitors to the Caucasus region. Every guest has an almost sacred status, and during one's stay, he or she enjoys full protection by the host, notwithstanding any circumstances. From the dawn of time, any traveler in the mountains could count upon safety at any house. According to the old saying, a house without guests has no goodwill. But it seems that the host isn't just respecting the centuries-old tradition of hospitality. He observes his guest and makes a decision that is both unexpected and not up for debate.
You'd better stay here for a few days and take the medicine. Get some fresh air. And take the medicine. Stay here for a few days.
While Misha makes himself comfortable, the host goes to the gate again to welcome somebody. It's improper to close the door in Abkhazia, otherwise someone could reach the conclusion that the host is inhospitable. And Varlam is sincerely glad that friends have shown up unexpectedly.
Hi, Valerichka.
My God, the men from the TV are here.
Good, good. Hi, guys. Greetings. Hello. Hello.
Hello, peace be upon your house. Valeria, these are my buddies. They're just vacationing here.
The local traditions that started 1,000 years ago are still just as applicable today. Our host is not only glad to have some guests, but is even flattered by the fact that there are so many of them. Oleg is from the same place Mihayu is from, and having gone on a vacation to Pitsunda with his family, couldn't help but visit Varlam to pay his respects.
When are you coming over? I'll call you. As soon as possible.
This acquaintance is stronger and more important than just friendship. Varlam is Oleg's family doctor. It's peculiar that the healer generously uses his gift and not only does this for free, but is willing to help his patients because he considers them to be his close friends.
My father got seriously ill. He was a healthy man, never smoked or drank, but suddenly began to lose weight. He lost 28 kilograms in a month. You know, Russians don't go to a hospital unless they're desperate. Finally, I persuaded him to go. Apparently, he had an intestinal disease so far advanced that I was told, be prepared. Soon he'll...
Although the tumor was removed, what doctors refer to as quality of life significantly decreased. The old man was bedridden and in a lot of pain. Needless to say that his intestine no longer functioned properly. Looking at his emaciated, pale father and twisted in tubes, the engineer had really been bracing himself for the worst until his acquaintance took him to Varlam. Everyone was astonished by the results of the treatment. His body began to recover rapidly. In 4 months, the dying man was back to a normal life.
He drives a car and works in the garden. In my opinion, he gained 2 kilograms. By the way, that's a good sign. Varlam has a God-given talent for curing people. Believe it or not, but it really works. I believe in it.
Varlam never listens to praise and gets embarrassed when he is paid too much attention. He can't accept thanks. He just waves his hand and walks away. Ultimate modesty is a main characteristic of real ex-minds in the Caucasus region. He considers himself to be just a bearer of ancestral knowledge and thinks that helping people is a holy duty given to him by God. But those whom he has helped are willing to talk about their most intimate issues so that everyone else can understand how much he has done for them.
In 2007, September, I think it was, I was diagnosed with carcinoma. I was subject to beaming, radiotherapeutics, and I had surgery. After the surgery, I had been suffering from lesions and was operated on again. Doctors don't lie. They honestly told me what treatment I would undergo. And then nothing happened. I found out about Varlam and asked him for help.
It has now been 6 years since Mihayu became acquainted with Varlam Kramsia, and he is sure that he has survived solely due to the mysterious forces of nature enclosed in plants and the healer's gift. This assuredness is reinforced by people whom Mihayu met at the Cancer Detection Center. They were defeated by the disease. For Mihayu, Varlam has become a man who can overcome even death and X-Mind.
The secret of Varlam's force is that it cures both the person and the body. It is not the disease that should be treated, but the individual human. I think that's the point.
Meanwhile, the X-Mind has something fun planned. Today is the day when everyone who wants to honor the healer gathers on the Kramsia ancestral land. It's a great holiday, and Varlam invites his accidental guests, Mihayu and Oleg, along with their friends. There's no need to invite fellow villagers, relatives, and friends because people come to a traditional Caucasian feast without invitation. News of someone's visit or of a great festivity in the Caucasus region has always spread immediately, long before mobile phones were invented. As soon as this becomes known, the oldest and most respected people gather and bring their families along with them. It's a way to honor the host, greet the guests, and to go through an ancient ritual. It's no coincidence that in Abkhazian, there is one word for toast and prayer.
My Lord, bestow upon us the warmth of your eyes. Amen. Amen.
The first toast is addressed to the Heavenly King and is always given by one of the most respected members of the community. Because today's feast is devoted to a special man, the healer, the ceremony is more elaborate. The patriarch holds a ritual treat, liver on a mulberry stick, and achahalas, dumplings with curd. And of course, a famous wine, which Abkhazians consider to be the best in the world. This is sacrificial food, according to ancient tradition.
May the times in which we live be blessed for people. Amen. Amen. Dear guests, may God grant you good health, be alive and well as you wish, and may you know success.
The feast clearly illustrates the unique worldview of the Abkhazians as well as that of many other Caucasian nations. Although people here profess Christianity and Islam, actually these two religions serve as a formal combination of ancient monotheistic beliefs. Local people believe in one God, so they see no great difference between Christ and Allah.
For sanctities and saints who protect the Abkhazia Holy Land. Amen, amen.
In some regions, people adore St. George. In others, the prophet Elijah. But here they personify the one God, the memory of whom has been cherished since pre-Christian times. In the 19th century, priests bitterly reported that Abkhazians both got baptized and received the salvage and visited the mullah, although they didn't get circumcised and even considered it to be something shameful. Bestowing respect has always been most important for this nation, so saints live in harmony with the spirits of the sacred trees.
Here grows my sacred ancestral grove, and here we have the table for offerings. Everyone who gives a toast shall put some food on it from his or her plate. Even if one doesn't say anything, he or she shall put something here. This is a kind of collective prayer.
Although Mihayu doesn't participate in the feast to the full extent due to his diseases, he feels that the collective prayer gives him the energy and viability of the locals. In the morning, Mihayu feels an unbelievable surge of energy. Perhaps it's the effect of the unique ionized mountain air full of the scents of relic plants and the vaporization of glacial streams. Or maybe it's all of yesterday's ceremony or the fresh root infusion. But the professional photographer cannot help but capture the wonderful beauty of the local landscapes.
First of all, this land is interesting because it is home to an ancient civilization. In my opinion, these are impartable things. The local ethnos and the local land belong together.
Mihayu continues taking pictures of the mountain silhouettes. They look different as the lighting changes. It seems that the photographer doesn't want to overlook a single landscape and captures the changing beauty that cured his awful diseases.
If I had only been treated by contemporary medicine, this would have ended sadly. I was healed by the mountains.
Soon he will return to his native Rostov, drink the healing infusion, and anxiously take heed of the slightest changes in his state. The improvement confirmed by the medical examination occurred not long ago, so he is afraid to jinx it. But Mihayu trusts in the power of the rare plant, which itself resembles the reluctantly retreating tumor. Of course, he will visit Varlam from time to time and be treated not as a patient, but as a dear guest. Of course, a great celebration will be organized, as is customary in Abkhazia. This is an ancient Anacopia fortress. In the 3rd century, it was a powerful trading city. 5 centuries later, it has become the capital of the Kingdom of Abkhazia. Byzantines, Arabs, Genoese involved at this strategic point in their wars and political games. The locals called the hill where the fortress was situated Abkhazian, or Anacopia Mountain. However, many people called it the Iberian Mountain because legend has it that Abkhazia is home to the Iberian Holy Mother. Today, Varlam is resting after preparing another course of medicine for Mihayu. However, his works is much more than just that of a pharmacist. The healer always does some invisible work, giving part of himself, his soul and power at all stages of preparing the potion. So today, he feels very tired. In order to recover, Varlam needs the energy of just such a place. Of course, those who seek his help can visit him anytime, and it doesn't take much time for Varlam to reach his house from Anacobia Mountain. So he is ascending to the small chapel in the fortress. It's his place of power. After praying, Varlam takes leisurely walks through the fortress. The new Athos monastery is not far from here, but there are also a lot of people there, and the healer wants to stay by himself. Sitting at the edge of a cliff, Varlam looks into the eternal vastness of the Black Sea, absorbing its power, restoring his forces, and regaining his strength until he receives a call from somebody who needs his help.
Hello.
In Abkhazia, the tops of the mountains have always been considered holy places. Even now, there are sanctuaries at some of them where ancient rituals are performed. But such meetings are kept in secret, and only descendants of those who have guarded this place for centuries are allowed. They are members of a specific cult that only a few people are let into. Varlam does not belong to it. He is not a votary, doesn't cast spells or make magic passes. Varlam just does his job, following his ancestral predestination, passed down by his forefathers and by fate. He hosts and cures anyone who needs help. Hospitality is the main law of the mountains, and Varlam abides by it.